Wednesday of the 12th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the second book of Kings. The priest Hilkiah informed the scribe Shaphan, "I have found the book of the law in the temple of the Lord." Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, who read it. Then the scribe Shaphan went to the king and reported, "Your servants have smelted down the metals available in the temple, and have consigned them to the master workmen in the temple of the Lord." The scribe Shaphan also informed the king that the priest Hilkiah had given him a book, and then read it aloud to the king. When the king heard the contents of the book of the law, he tore his garments and issued this command to Hilkiah the priest: Ahikam, son of Shaphan, Akbor, son of Micaiah, the scribe Shaphan, and the king's servant Asaiah, "Go, consult the Lord for me, for the people, for all Judah, about the stipulations of this book that has been found. For the anger of the Lord has been set furiously ablaze against us, because our fathers did not obey the stipulations of this book, nor fulfill our written obligations." The king then had all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem summoned together before him. The king went up to the temple of the Lord with all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, priests, prophets, and all the people, small and great. He had the entire contents of the book of the covenant that had been found in the temple of the Lord read out to them. Standing by the column, the king made a covenant before the Lord, that they would follow him and observe his ordinances, statutes, and decrees with their whole hearts and souls, thus reviving the terms of the covenant which were written in this book. And all the people stood as participants in the covenant. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, "Teach me the way of your decrees, O Lord. Instruct me, O Lord, in the way of your statutes, that I may exactly observe them. Teach me the way of your decrees, O Lord. Give me discernment, that I may observe your law and keep it with all my heart. Teach me the way of your decrees, O Lord. Lead me in the path of your commands, for in it I delight. Teach me the way of your decrees, O Lord. Incline my heart to your decrees, and not to gain. Teach me the way of your decrees, O Lord. Turn away my eyes from seeing what is vain. By your way, give me life. Teach me the way of your decrees, O Lord. Behold, I long for your precepts. In your justice, give me life. Teach me the way of your decrees, O Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Beware of false prophets, who come to you in sheep's clothing, but underneath are ravenous wolves. By their fruits you will know them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Just so, every good tree bears good fruit, and a rotten tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a rotten tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. So, by their fruits you will know them." The Gospel of the Lord.
June 27th, Wednesday of the 12th week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from 2 Kings 22, 8-13, and 23, 1-3. This is the passage in which we hear about the finding of the Book of Deuteronomy in the temple. King Josiah had decreed that the temple should be cleaned. Clean probably means removing all the pagan idols, making sure that everything's in repair, and actually physically cleaning it out because it had been neglected for a long time. In the course of which Hilkiah the priest finds a book of the law. Now, when was this book written? We really don't know. Was it written in ancient times and only found then? Was it written during the reign of Manasseh, the grandfather of Josiah, who was a very evil king and therefore it had to be hidden? Was it written 5 minutes before the cleaners arrived in the room? We really don't know. It is the core of what's today called the Book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy means a second law. Some of the things that it did was it centralized the worship of Yahweh in Israel. For example, from this time on, you couldn't worship Yahweh upon the hilltops and other shrines. You could only worship Him in Jerusalem. It made many other prescriptions of the law, and the king wanted to find out whether this law was true or not. So he sent it to experts. They decreed that it was a true law. He had it proclaimed to the people so that they would then begin to follow this law. This happened sometime around 622 BC, not all that long before Josiah would be killed in battle and before the people would be exiled in Babylon. The Gospel is from Matthew 7, 15 to 20. Beware of false prophets. There are many people who claim to be speaking in the name of God, but whose words and whose deeds are not consistent with what they say that they are. How will we know them? We'll know them because they don't bear good fruit. Look at their deeds. Look at whether they're living a transparent lifestyle, a lifestyle that's consistent with the message they're giving. If they're not, then they're like the tree that doesn't bear good fruit, should be cut down and thrown in the fire. This doesn't mean that true preachers of the word won't make mistakes. We're all sinners. But those who are true preachers will recognize their sinfulness and turn back from it. Remember how Pope Francis in these months said something about those who made accusations of sexual abuse against priests and bishops in Chile, and at first he thought it was false, but then he found out more details and he wrote a letter of apology, not in the name of the church, but in his own name, saying, I made a mistake. Those who are true apostles, those who are true proclaimers of the word, will live that word, and even if they sin, they'll turn back and ask for forgiveness. And may God bless us.